How's it going, everybody? So, here's the deal. I tried to do a top 10 list, and at first I failed miserably. So, I'm with someone on PSN, and she goes, "Why don't you try and make it a 20 since there's so many?" And I'm like, "Okay." So, I'm with Anime Freak, aka Tino. So, he gives me his top 15. And I'm trying to narrow it down to 20. I forget two people on the list, and sure enough, it just became such a freaking crapshoot. So here's the way that I label it down. Rule number one: it is fanfic only. Otherwise, between Restless, Her Royal Average, Wholesome Succubus, everything else, it would be very difficult. Number two: every story must be completed. That means Kurumi that's currently ongoing in Sheffield does not apply on this list. Can they make the list? Absolutely. But it's so hard to judge a story based on content, favoritism, everything else, when it doesn't even have an ending. So that's basically what it got to. So I have a top 10 list, and let's name some honorable mentions. Okay? Ross Weiss, or Ross Weiss, however you want to call it. Amazing story, but it comes down to who you taking out. You know what I mean? That's just a very, very, very hard one. Misere did not make the top 10. And it simply just went to, again, who you taking out. So, as far as the list goes, I'm going to go from 10 all the way to 1. And another thing that I did put in here is that if I'm going to say, I'm only going to do one franchise. So, if you want to go with my pawn, I'm not going to go Rias 1 and like a Rias 2 higher up because it doesn't make it fair. I would just put Rias series as this entry. I think that makes it fair, and I think there's a lot more justice for a lot of these stories. So, going with number 10, I have Seraphol. And the only reason why some people are saying, wait, what? Only number 10? Now, listen, do I love the Pro Tag? Do I love Seraphol? Yes, I do. So, what happened here is, as far as plot, story, her boyfriend overcoming what it is, and rather, this one was instead of earning the woman or earning the girl, she basically bounced into his lap and said, "This is it." Now, this was a lot easier because this was based off an earlier story of her sister, and it's just kind of modified and expanded from there. But as far as fighting, plots, he came from a decent family. There wasn't much to overcome. It was more of, I just need to be stronger for my woman. Lovely story, great plot, good romance, but there's just some other elements that are stronger in the other ones mentioned here. 9, Ravel. Again, this one doesn't have a lot of fighting, although it does have a good amount of conflict in it. But with Ravel being such a homewrecker in all these stories where she's mentioned of being the girl that wants to steal your man, I gave her some light, gave her some justice, and even got to put in her two brothers in there, which did eventually approve of him. So that was nice. It was a nice icing on the cake. Number 8, Rain from Infinite Stratos. Now, a lot of you are saying, wait, this is the IS story? So, to run through a couple of things. Tadanashi, where if it had a transgender pro tag or not, it was short, sweet, but just lacked the depth. Lore isn't complete. As far as Sarashiki, let's see what I'm thinking of. Tanahashi's sister. I'm sorry. Uh, I gotta look this up right now. Kanzashi. Ugh. I knew I was gonna be pissed at myself. There we go. Kinzashi. Yeah, again, lap the depth and the elements. But when you take Reen, it was long, it was in depthful, it was cute, it was wholesome, it had the intensity, and it went through its ups and downs. They fought well, good enemies. This one really, I think, is low key one of the better ones. I think this one was really overlooked. I know there's not a lot of IS stuff out there in comparison to DXD, Rosario, and everything else. But this is one that I like reading back on because this one here, it just it just hits it right here well. This is going to shock a few people, but the Rosario one I have in here is Cocoa at number 7. So turning a strawberry yandery into the wholesome sweet and let me get through this. I want to please my father. I want to find a nice guy. And this is a guy that was half vampire, half human, had to lie to his girlfriend. She almost lost, almost said, hey, you know what? I'm not trusting you anymore. And then you bring in the sisters, and then he goes through the trials, and they end up being a really happy couple. And the one thing that kind of gets me where I read back on is the time where they make a drink called the Cookin' Lolly. It was a joke between me and Tina at the time. And from there, the fact that it was just them studying with the mentality of we're going to just hit the books hard and great, we're going to be up all night, and that happened twice in a row. I just look at it and it's just smooth. It helps Cocoa's character that may not have been explained in the anime. In the manga, they wanted more of it, a lot of the readers. So I have Cocoa at number 7. Number 6, the Konako series. A wolf, a Nico, and what's the worst that can happen? You kill his family, marry him, have a wolf Nico hybrid child, living with the sister-in-law who's also the Nico that seemed to be the enemy of her sister, and then find your father, who was an absolute bastard of a man, threaten to kill him, say not to, and what happens when everyone says you should probably kill him off? He actually becomes the best grandfather ever. uh, Number 5, the Akino series. Now, the reason why this might be a little low for some people is the intro to Akino, where it was supposed to be originally a short story. The intro, until it gets to them being together, does fall a little bit flat. But as it keeps going on, the time where it's the scenes based on Casino Royale, the time where he kills his parents, and then he finds out Akino is having a baby. And let's also not to forget the epic moment where he goes, well, she calls me daddy too, bitch, bring it, to her father. Those are one of the things that I quote still to this day, and that was written years ago. I miss those certain times. Rating Cloud is one of the best kids I have made design wise. Love the personality he's got. And I also gave the bonus chapter where him and Zenovia's kid grow up and they become a couple. I just thought it was sweet in every which way. So there's a lot, and I mean, I don't think there's going to be a 1.5 to that thing at all. I don't think there's going to be a third series to any of these. The only one I could think of was, one, and that's next on the list. Number 4 is the My Pawn series, the Ria series. Now, I thought that you could easily say that 1 and 2 could make this list. But when you look at it, you have him coming from nothing, striving to be the best man he can be, has a baby, and then you at first, now what happened is there's a lot of people now that read the series and they go one, one and a half, two. You see, there are people that read them in order, whereas I put one, I made two, and then later down the line I made 1.5 because I had this idea in my head. So what happened was when I made two, it's like, great, this guy is an amazing husband and father. He gives Milikis the woman of his dreams. And it's all these elements of family life, these kid designs, and just an abundance of battle, romance, jokes, everything. It hit home. But when you make 1.5, it was how he got there, how he became a man, up and all the way until Raven was born, and that's where it hits me emotionally to this day. So that might be a little low for some people, but bear in mind with me. Number 3, Nino Nakano. Now, her sister Miku Nakano, it is a complete series, and it was an honorable mention here, but unfortunately it just wasn't high enough. What we have here is a girl that wants a bad boy, is actually dating a bad boy that put his ways behind him, and from there, what we have is a guy who's trying to clean up his act, trying to learn, trying to help his best friend that he got in trouble and he's in the position where he is because of it. And they go from hating each other to going out to dethroning Pops and telling him to know his place to getting married. And the depth and the amount of chapters I wrote into that, because I wrote that thing heavy. I hit the books heavy on that. And I got all those chapters done in a matter of just a few months, where some of these on and off take me over a year. That thing hits the absolute spot in every which way. If you want your romance, if you want your trial and error, if you want your overcoming, everything, without it being too dark, this is it. Sorry if you hear the dogs barking in the background. Number 2. This is going to surprise everybody because this was my number 1 for a long time, Irina. So we have a devil and an angel getting married. Let's rewind. A man who has a holy sword in his possession gives it to his son, tells him to hide in his closet. And there are people going out to assassinate him and his wife and look for his son and kill him off too. He uses the sword to hide in that closet. His last dying words he hears from his father is to go to Father Yukinari, who raises him until he's a teenage boy, who's almost an adult, who considers him his son, to be the very best man he can be. When he finds out that he becomes a devil, he already packs his things and he's crying and hugging him goodbye because he goes, I don't know what you can do. I know it's time for you to move on, but let me know that I love you. And from there, he finds his childhood friend, the one he has a crush on. They end up going through terms. He defeats the demons that have been eating him alive for several years. He marries the love of his life. He gets rid of the fallen angel race. And the whole thing is just the alliance between the devils and angels, and they're at the heart of it, him and his wife, angel and devil. To me, there's a reason why there's no sequel to Irina. And simply because it was either I was not satisfied, I was sad of the outcome, or clearly it just really didn't make sense because of the mythology and the rules of the universe. But overall, this is a 9 plus out of 10. And what can top that? Well, this is a series that not a lot of people know about. And really, the only reason there's one season is because this was to promote the light manga sales. This is Chivalry of a Failed Knight, and you know what's coming. Lady Stella Vermilion. So, what do we have? A kid who's essentially a Viking, son of a royal guard who serves the King of Denmark. And what happens? Because his father had an affair with a woman and he had to choose, he left him and his mother high and dry. His half brother, Soon, which is really meaning the word son. Ugh. What happens is they go to the same combat school. And what else happens? They gotta face each other. So what happens to the Prince of Clash? What happens is he knows that his brother and his father are stronger than him. As far as the element they use as a blazer, they're both against him because he's wind and they're both earth. So he's got to figure out if he could use his speed and his hand to hand combat to beat him. And he tries hard. He tries extra hard. He tries to be the best he can be. And whereas everybody else, you know, just lacks it, right? Stella and Iki are trying to be the best they can be, and with, 10-kilo warm ups, stuff like that. Everybody else is just in their own ways, where if they just want to practice stance or their breathing and everything else. Nobody worked harder in that series than Iki Korigana. Nobody. And there's a reason why people follow his ways. And that was because he wanted to beat the best competition possible. So with Stella's boyfriend, what happens is he gets everything he has to have done. He beats his brother. He gets cheap shot by his brother after losing. He's got concussion he has to recover from, and he has to get his strength back and then train more because he calls out his dad. So between the rivalries, the enemies, the battle, the triumph, the era, the humor that was involved, the rules of the universe, the love, the passion, everything. When I think of what is missed in here for a now there's a lot. The only thing I got criticized here was really this being second person. Now there's a lot of people being like the grammar makes it unreadable. Do you not know what second person view is? You went here, you went there, and a lot of people are being like, no, 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 it's here, what, or there, and it's unreadable, it's unlegible. And I got flamed about it, and the guy wanted to research everything I did on the internet and wanted to try and ruin me and make me look like an asshat when he was just an internet troll. I got the messages. Yeah, there was one guy that tried to do it just to shit down my neck and ruin my parade, but I didn't let him do that. But I keep looking back and everything right here, and this is the best one. Stella. To me, this is my favorite for a reason. It's because if you look at it, right? Do you have good enemies? Yes. Do you have trial and error? Yes. Do you have good romance? Yes. Is it funny? Yeah. Is it sexy? Yes. Is there a lot of depth? Yes. The training, the battles, everything. I just, I liked everything about this book, and everything just went in place. Everything about this book flowed very well. This was a book that took me 3 tries. The first book, I couldn't even get the intro. The second book, I couldn't get the character right. The third time, everything went as smooth as I could imagine. And if you go by the plot, the details, the agony, everything, I got it done, and it is my favorite. And this was a hard list to do. I put in, if you include this video, about 2 hours worth of time because I have the memories, I remember writing them, everything. This took me 2 hours to do in total, and I stand by it. So, if you go by the top 10, 10 to 1, Serafall, Ravel, Reen, Kokoa, Koniko, Akino, Rias, Nino, Irina, Stella. And if you don't agree, who are you taking out? And again, a lot of honorable mentions. Ross Weiss, Sona got very close. Misere, very close. Inner Mocha series, very close. Miku, very close. Both Mikus very close at that. But it is what it is. But I actually have, if you know Anime Freak, or Tina, as we call him. Actually, we're starting to call him Princess now. Don't tell him I said that. I got his top 15. Prince Eugen. An honorable mention again, but it just lacks the depth, but was there where I need it. Azure Lane's hard to write. I'm going 1 all the way to 15. All the way to 15. Belfast. Koniko. Nino. Kokoa. Irina. Yukari. Reen. Miku Azuya. Dead Alive. Rias. Asia. Asia Milrear, that is. Stella. Akino. Grafia. Oris TNA. Now, the harem books, I just didn't think that they had the other elements as the other ones do. Did they have comedy and romance? Yeah. Did they have much other plot? Did they have a lot of battle? Not really. Do I regret writing them? Absolutely not. Will there be one in the future? I really don't know. Nothing planned, at least. I have too much going on. But either way, that's what I got. That was tough. That was really tough. So, let me know what you guys think. So, I'm going to be doing this for a long time, guys. I'm not going anywhere. I don't plan on it. I don't care if I work 60 hours a week like I'm doing right now. I got a Saturday off, which I'm happy about. So, I don't think it's guaranteed for next week. But either way, I'm going to keep doing my thing and I'm going to keep giving you what you guys like. So, thank you. I love you all and be well. Take it easy.